Hey, Luke, do you like movies?
Yeah.
Do you like Disney?
Yeah, as long as they don't have any gay characters in them.
Yeah, that's how it is. Well, I've got some good news for you then. Taika Waititi to direct Scarlett Johansson in Disney ride Tower of Terror. Now, admittedly, that title is that headline is a bit stupid because it's actually a movie based on the Disney ride Tower of Terror.
Wow, that'll never work.
I know, exactly. Obviously, what Martin Scorsese said, they're turning movies into rides. I thought they already had lots of movies that were rides. They're called the Marvel movies. Am I right?
Yeah, no, that's good. And there's not a better example that came out about 20 years ago based on pirates.
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Luke. And this week we are celebrating the release of the another vital classic addition to the Disney live-action remake collection of The Little Mermaid. And we're going to be looking at the original, inferior, eminently replaceable animated version. So, Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about The Little Mermaid, the animated version from 1989?
Yes, exactly, Michael. Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they'd want to replace this movie because, cartoons, they're for babies.
That is true.
Those, actually, you know what, we'll get into the clips we've seen of the new Little Mermaid coming out. And we will also, of course, guess what it's going to get on Rotten Tomatoes at the end of the review. But anyway, The Little Mermaid is a 1989 American animated musical fantasy film produced by Walt Disney Feature Animation and released by Walt Disney Pictures. And it is the 28th Disney animated feature film and is loosely based on the 1837 Danish fairy tale of the same name by Hans Christian Andersen. Ever heard of him?
Yes, I have, yes. He also did Frozen.
Well, probably not because he was dead by then.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I apologize. That was a mistake on my part. No, he did I think it's like the book it's based on, it's called The Ice Queen or something?
Yes.
Yes.
That makes sense because, of course, that Arendelle, I think that's...
Yes, it's very Danish.
Yeah, it's very Danish. This is kind of Danish. The prince is called Prince Eric. So I guess that's a Danish name. That makes sense. There's a footballer called Eriksson, so that tracks. Anyway, so the director for The Little Mermaid, 1989, was John Musker and Ron Clements. It was written by them as well. Produced by Howard Ashman. A crucial, I guess, what's the word, Michael, I'm looking for?
Linchpin.
No, I was going to say visionary.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. An innovator of sorts, if you like.
Yeah, I guess not. He didn't really innovate.
A catalyst?
Yeah, catalyst, that's good as well, but I think visionary was fine. But yeah, he didn't really innovate, he just foresaw what could be possible with these Disney Renaissance movies, and of course he started off with The Little Mermaid. The movie also stars Jodie Benson, Christopher Daniel Barnes, Pat Carroll, Kenneth Mars, Samuel Wright, Jason Martin, and Buddy Hackett. The movie was released on November the 17th, 1989, so yeah, about
34 years ago?
Yeah, 33 years ago, and of course we are eagerly anticipate the new 2023 version. And Michael, can you guess what the budget was for the 1989 Little Mermaid?
Well, that's a tough one. 40 million. No, 30 million.
What's your final answer?
I'm going to say 30 million.
You know what? 40 million is absolutely correct.
Oh, no. Damn it. Oh, well, I'm still close enough, but...
Yeah, that's funny, though. You're you nailed it, but no, your natural instinct to get under once again failed you. Yes, it's incredible how this keeps happening and cost you an incredible guess. Well, it's not really incredible, but you know what I mean. Yeah, almost the right answer, Michael. Better luck next time, but what about the box office? How much did this make?
Well, obviously, it made a lot. It made... Oh, God. See, admittedly, I think this film made a lot, but obviously 40 million, it must have made a lot based on that. 400 million.
The thing is, The Lion King, of course, grossed $1 billion, so I can understand why you perhaps, because that came out 5 years later, I can understand why you guessed that amount, but this, of course, only grossed 211 million.
Amateur.
Yeah, so you don't get a mark against your name because you didn't go more than double. But yeah, you were pretty close there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
played it fast and loose.
Again, I think the hype for Disney probably grew after this movie, and then Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, The Lion King, etc.
Yeah.
And that is what allowed The Lion King to be so successful when it came out. Again, this was back in the day where, well, of course, we're going to talk about the Disney Renaissance. This was really the start of that. But anyway, Michael, did you like The Little Mermaid?
You know, I think what I concluded is that this movie was... It was fine for what it was, or it was good. No, it was good for what it was. Like, I think the obvious criticism one can make of this movie is that it's pretty small. Like, it's not a big movie with a lot to it. It's
I think
very simple.
That was the case for Disney movies back
in the day. Yeah, I think like it's kind of they were often. So I suppose in that sense, it didn't really depart, I guess, from the Disney movies of the past. But I do think, with that said, it was effective. I think the fact the movie was so small means I don't think it could ever be like a, really kind of masterpiece movie in the way that.
I don't think it's a masterpiece.
No, but I think it's a good. I mean, maybe I would even say it's on the lower end of great movie in terms of being what it is. It's a good movie at being what it is, and what it is good. I feel like that sounds more negative than my actual opinion of the movie. My opinion is positive. I'm just saying, like, it's not like when I compare it to like the Disney greats like The Lion King, well, Lion King was like this massive movie, and obviously this is very different from that. But it's still a good movie.
Yeah, I think you started off being pretty negative there unnecessarily. Because this movie is a very good movie. Yes, it doesn't hit the heights, I think, of The Lion King.
I feel like Beauty and the Beast was probably, in my view, at least better than this. But even then, I would say probably that, because I'm not an infant, I don't really think that, the Beauty and the Beast film... I don't think that like there are any that many Disney films that are like masterpieces.
No, you're right. I don't think that is the case either. So yeah, I mean, it's very good. Maybe you could argue the second best. Maybe you could argue it's the fifth best. But it is still a very good movie. And yeah, I think I'm looking back on this movie, watching it, and of course, the historical context. This was the start of this Renaissance, and you can completely understand why it was the start of this Renaissance, because this movie does have like heart. I think the movie does very well in making you care about Ariel. And I think, the emotional conflict between her and her dad, I think the movie does a good job there. And yeah, I think it has a good villain as well. That helps too. And yeah, obviously she's killed at the end by Prince Eric in a heroic stabbing.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool death.
Yeah, and I think this movie, I can completely understand why this kicked off this Renaissance, and I completely understand why, people love it. Like the movie before this was, I think, The Great Mouse Detective.
Yeah, and the movie before this was Oliver and Company, actually, which I was just about to think. I was like, hold on a minute, Luke, why? Clearly, Oliver and Company was the movie that should have been successful.
I'm looking at this: The Great Mouse Detective 86, Oliver and Company 88, and there's a reason why The Little Mermaid is getting remade and Oliver and Company isn't. And yeah, I can completely understand why people love this movie, and we'll get into it. And again, I think the work that the writers and Howard Ashman as well does with Ariel is superb. It really, really is.
Yes. Are we going to talk about how hot she is?
Michael, she's 16.
But animated. I mean, that doesn't mean anything. No, I mean, I didn't. She probably is said to be 16 in the film, and I just ignored that tactically.
Literally, she says to her father, "I'm 16."
Yeah, okay. That's that. I think my brain blanked that out. When that happened.
Oh, did it? That's
when that happened, all that was going on in my brain was, she's so hot. I can't believe they drew such a sexy woman, such a sexy and of age woman.
I don't know whether you're being ironic or not, because sometimes you make these ironic jokes about these.
No, I will say no. I think she was. I think she was animated in a very. I think this is the right word for it. Sultry way at some point. I think sultry is a good term. Like with like the eyes and like her hair and stuff. She does like a lot of. There's a lot of. I guess what I'll say, and this is kind of. But obviously, this film relies on a lot of kind of visual flirtation, because obviously she loses her voice.
I mean, look, I'm not attracted to 16-year-olds like you.
I see.
But I will say she just looks very Disneyified. Like she's very Disney, like with the big eyes.
Yes.
And, like the very, very slim waist.
And a round thing in your face, but it is admittedly scaly.
Yeah, it is scaly. Yeah, and it's like, yeah, she's just like, a perfect Disney princess, like what you would, if you were trying to play it safe, what you would draw.
Yes.
As a Disney princess. Yes, indeed. And I think, again, that there's a contrast to, say, Belle in Beauty and the Beast, who does, I mean, you could say, oh yeah, she's not an ugly character, but she's less like picturesque, like less Disneyified. As a princess, I guess. So yeah, I think that's what they did with Ariel. But anyway, we were gonna discuss Ariel and her character, but of course you just had to bring up how attracted to her you were.
Yes, I thought let's get out of the way.
But anyway, let's get into nitpicks. How many do you have?
I have 3. Oh no, sorry, 2 nitpicks and 1 litpick.
Okay, I have 0, so you go first.
Okay, so my first nitpick, and this one's a pretty obvious one. It's just not dark enough. I can see things. Clearly awful. My second nitpick is...
I just want to say I like that. That's a good joke.
Thank you.
Well done.
Is this one isn't that good. The Sebastian said, "You give them an inch, they swim all over you," and I thought it would have been funnier if he said, "You give them a nautical inch, they take a nautical mile." I don't know why. I'm a big fan of very what's the word, like clumsy puns, and I thought that would have been funny. And this is and then this is the lit pick. I appreciate the accuracy of the seagull thinking Ariel, and I put as an aside, a white woman is attracted to the dog, which is of course a reference to when she looks on the ship and she's like, "Oh, isn't he handsome?" And then the focuses on the dog.
You really like that joke.
I think it's. I really do. Yeah, I'm not gonna dispute the fact that I definitely enjoy that joke.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, so I don't have any lit picks or nitpicks, so let's get into The Little Mermaid, and I like how your nitpicks weren't even nitpicks. But
I know, yeah, none of them were. They were all jokes. Every single one of them was a joke.
Okay, good stuff. So let's get into the plot first. So the colourful... Oh yeah, this is a great description, I guess. I am guessing that a person who could not speak English or doesn't speak English as their first language wrote this. This colourful adventure tells the story of an impetuous mermaid. To be fair, that is a big word. Impetuous mermaid princess named Ariel who falls in love with the very human Prince Eric. I love that description. And puts everything on the line for the chance to be with him.
To be with him.
Yeah, memorable songs and characters, including the villainous sea witch Ursula. So
memorable songs and characters.
Yes, that's what this movie includes, including the villainous sea witch Ursula. So yeah, let's talk first about the creation of this movie. So, of course, this is a very significant movie. It's a very important movie in the history of animation, in the history of movies itself, I guess, in the history of entertainment, because obviously for people our age and people who are younger, maybe older as well, I'm not sure, we grew up watching these Disney movies, and I didn't own The Little Mermaid, but of course
I didn't own The Little Mermaid either.
No, because it was for girls.
Which is, exactly, again, I'm glad to see we're in agreement here.
Yeah, that's what Katzenberg was worried about. But anyway, so Walt Disney planned to put the story in a proposed package film containing Anderson's stories, but scrapped the project. In 1985, while working on The Great Mouse Detective, Clements and Musker decided to adapt the fairy tale and proposed it to Disney Studios. Jeffrey Katzenberg, he's the chairman, by the way, of Disney Studios, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who initially declined due to its similarities to a proposed sequel to the 1984 film Splash.
What?
Yeah, so that memorable film nearly killed the Disney Renaissance.
Oh, wow.
But
I love Splash.
But ultimately, he approved of it. Ashman became involved and brought it to Menken. Katzenberg warned that the film would earn less since it appeared to females. I guess appealing to females was a worry, and I guess it may have grossed considerably less than, say, The Lion King because of that, but of course it was still a success. But he eventually became convinced that it would be Disney's first blockbuster hit. And I guess it grossed quite a lot for 1989. That's a fair amount.
I would say like probably getting into the 200 million. That's probably qualifies as a blockbuster.
Yeah, I'd say so. Absolutely. So, The Little Mermaid is given credit for breathing life back into the art of Disney animated feature films after some films produced by Disney were struggling. It also marked the start of the era known as the Disney Renaissance. The film won 2 Academy Awards for Best Original Score and Best Original Song. What was the Best Original Song, Michael?
Probably part of their world, part of that world, whatever it is.
Under the Sea.
Oh, really? Okay. I mean, I probably prefer Under the Sea, but yeah.
Oh well, that's a debate we're going to get into.
Yeah. Okay. So, good favorite song. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So many have attributed the success of the Disney Renaissance to a collection of key similarities found in most, if not all, of the films from 1899. Broadway-style musical numbers were put into place that forwarded the narrative of each film, which is what Ashman was brought in to do. He was tasked with stitching songs into the movie and bringing the musical theatre tradition back into Disney. Yeah, and that is the key. You gotta these songs have to move the narrative forward and explain the characters' emotions. That's what makes these songs compelling and interesting. So
yeah, what's your favorite song from Oliver and Company?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to be fair, again, there's a bigger emphasis on songs in Disney movies.
Yeah, because I think like a lot of, I mean, I've seen some of like the kind of early 80s, late 70s movies, and I think like music was a way lower focus. Like The Rescuers, Fox and the Hound, Great Mouse. I don't think any of those like, it's not really until you get back to like bloody fucking Jungle Book that the songs really get a focus, and that was in the 60s. They really just didn't care about music for a while.
Well, yeah, they didn't care about music for probably like 20 years.
Yeah.
So characters used songs to showcase their internal emotions, and most of the Renaissance films had songs that have the main character singing what they want out of life, as well as chorus numbers led by the supporting cast. And again, this was a crucial formula which they, of course, replicated again and again because it was successful, and not just because it's successful, because it works.
Yeah, it's good.
It makes the movie better. In addition, The Little Mermaid signaled the re-establishment of the musical film format, and the majority of Disney's most popular animated films from the 1930s onwards had been musicals, but through the 70s and 80s the role of music had been de-emphasized in the films. So yeah, The Little Mermaid brought it back and signaled to Disney, oh yeah, this is the direction we should be going in. There was also a lot of variance in these movies in terms of the music. So The Little Mermaid has calypso style musical numbers. So The Little Mermaid, which was Disney's first animated fairy tale since Sleeping Beauty in 1959. Wow.
Blimey.
So yeah, that's the thing. They had a winning formula and they just stopped making those movies.
And then they got very confused.
Yeah, Cinderella came out in 1953. Sleeping Beauty 1959. I think Snow White in the 40s.
I think I think it was literally 1940 was when Snow White came out.
And maybe not that early.
I think it was. Wait, okay, ready?
You know what? It was 47.
Guess what? Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, 1937.
Oh, that was what I got wrong. It's 1937, not 47.
Pinocchio was 1940 and Fantasia was 1940. So
yeah. So yeah, the first fairy tale since Sleeping Beauty in 59. So that's the thing. They waited about 30 years. They were very successful, and then they just stopped making these incredible, incredibly beloved fairy tales. And I'm like, damn, how do we get back to doing, how do we get back to Disney being, a very prominent brand? Hey, why don't we just
do what we did when it was?
Yeah. Oh, good idea. And The Little Mermaid was born. And yeah, it's an important film in animated history for many reasons. It was instrumental in re-establishing feature-length animation as a profitable venture for the Walt Disney Company. And, they had theme parks and television products. But yeah, this was like, oh yeah, we're going to focus on movies now. And of course, the live-action features had overshadowed the animated output since the 1950s, but no longer that was the case, eh? And now we're back to live-action overshadowing the animated stuff, which is great. Yeah, it's kind of happy.
Yeah, it's nice and kind of like full circle, I guess.
Yeah. And they're very profitable, but no one would consider any of these live-action Disney movies classics, would they?
No.
Yes. So yeah, you got the start of the Renaissance here, and yeah, that is a perfect word for it, I guess, because yeah, this Little Mermaid was again the start of Disney getting back to what they did best, like fairy tales, like songs. And guess what? It was successful. Who knew? Like, I can't believe they just didn't try it for like 30 years.
Yeah.
Or 20 years in the case of musicals. But yeah, they did. And now it's funny the contrast, because this new Little Mermaid coming out in 2023, it signals, I guess, the depressing reality of modern Disney. They are kind of bereft of ideas, bereft of magic, bereft of making art in general, and are just making like shitty remakes with bad CGI, which look terrible compared to the originals. So yeah, it's kind of come full circle in a very depressing way, I guess.
No, yeah, I do like that actually. Like this should have been the last live action remake they did. They should have celebrated their, awful trash era with the beginning of their kind of renewed good era.
Yeah,
like that.
Do they have any more live action movies after The Little Mermaid?
Like lined up? Oh, that's an interesting question actually. I might try and find out.
Well, they have a Moana remake, which is hilarious, of course.
Oh yeah, I guess that doesn't count because that's. Oh wait, no shit. Yeah, sorry, it's a remake, isn't it? I was about to say it doesn't. Yeah, sorry, yeah. For a minute I was thinking it was a sequel, but it's not, is it?
No, it's not a sequel.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, it's a live-action remake of Moana.
Yeah. For a second, my brain refused to admit that Disney was that dumb, and I was like thinking, no, that's a sequel, isn't it? I was like, no, wait, it isn't. God.
I believe a live-action Lilo and Stitch is being remade.
Oh, yeah, because like apparently the sign about race. And the important thing is that she's kind of, more dark-skinned, and apparently the woman who's playing her is insufficiently dark-skinned.
Okay.
So this is a controversy.
Right, I'm looking right now. So apparently there is going to be a Snow White remake coming next year.
Yes.
In 2024.
Also, apparently there was a movie called, I don't know, that's Peter Pan and Wendy on April 28th. Like, I guess they weren't even like marketing that.
Yeah,
as like
no, I heard that on Spotify. A Spotify ad. It's on Disney Plus alone.
Yeah.
So there you go. They didn't have a lot of hope for that. Yeah, so Snow White is coming in 2024 based on the 1937 remake starring Rachel Zegler, who of course was in West Side Story. And also the new superhero movie that flopped massively. I'm talking about Shazam.
Oh, Shazam! Yes.
Shazam: Fury of the Gods.
Yes.
That she was in that as well, and that flopped. But yeah, so hopefully that won't flop for her. And then we have Mufasa, the Lion King.
Yeah, I'm seeing this.
That is a prequel to the Lion King, so at least it'll be something original, I guess. There's a live-action Hercules directed by Guy Ritchie.
That sounds like it could be fun.
So we have another remake of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, just called Hunchback, an untitled Cruella sequel, an untitled Prince Anders film. Is that Aladdin?
Oh, so, it says it's based on Aladdin. I don't know why is he called Prince Anders?
I don't know. There's a Bambi remake and the Aristocats remake. And then, of course, right at the bottom, a Moana remake, which is hilarious because the movie is 7 years old.
I suppose like at least it's actually like there's so many other movies. I mean, I don't know how quickly they're going to be pumping these movies out. So at least a few years until the Moana movie actually comes out. But wow.
The thing is, I can sort of see the justification for making a Snow White reboot or making a Snow White movie. Because 1937 was the last time. That's the thing. These Little Mermaid movies, like you can just show this one and it's fine. And I imagine look, I haven't seen the 37 Snow White.
I have.
Okay, I imagine it's not that great in terms of animation compared to modern day, and perhaps it could use a remake. But this, for instance, The Little Mermaid doesn't need it, and it just goes to show with this new Little Mermaid movie, again the contrast, like something really special, lightning in the bottle with the 1989 version, and then the 2023 version, just the confirmation from what we've seen with the clips, how dark it is, just the lack of magic, I guess, and the lack of ideas.
Yeah, if Ursula made a deal, then she wouldn't even be getting anything out of it because there's no soul for her to own.
That's very good. That's very good. I like that. I like that a lot. So let's get into this movie. So the 1989 Little Mermaid starts off in the kingdom of Atlanticia, or Atlantica, whatever. I don't know why they just won't say Atlantis.
Why isn't it Atlantis? Yeah. What are they doing? I
don't know. Disney lawyers maybe didn't want to call it Atlantis. I'm not sure.
Yeah, they had to. Plato still, the Plato estate still owns it.
Well, isn't that where Aquaman lives?
Yeah, but I mean, it's. Yeah,
I know. It's I get what you're saying. Yeah. So anyway, it's located under the Atlantic Ocean. What a surprise! So Ariel, a 16-year-old mermaid princess. It says it on Wikipedia again. Michael 16.
Wow, they're really trying to rub it in, aren't they? They're really trying to ruin this for me.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I don't know if you're being ironic or not, but I hope you are.
I just like to, that's just. It's important to me that I maintain my inscrutable layers of irony, so I can get away with saying anything I want whenever I want.
Yeah, but it's often about how hot like cartoon women are.
Yeah. That's where I'm really invested in this issue.
Okay, so she is dissatisfied with underwater life, but is fascinated by the human world. With her best friend Flounder, who again looks hilarious in the 2023 version. When she's shaking Flounder, it looks like she's like being cruel to him, like it's animal cruelty.
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's the one thing. Obviously, your point about like, how obviously the animation's kind of dated in the Snow White, or you assumed it was, and it probably is. But having said that, like, it's not as like obviously most of the Disney live action remakes that have involved any element of CGI have been dated instantly.
Yeah.
Like none of them. Like I don't think I've seen a single like Disney live action where I've been, the CGI justifies it.
That's the thing. I'm not sure it's dated, and it's just like it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't work because, of course, these animals in The Lion King and in The Little Mermaid,
they're supposed to be expressive.
They have to be expressive, and they have to, cartoons work for that, because you just have like the fucking Halle Berry, whatever she's called, like shaking this fish, and this fish just has this dumb look on its face, and it's like, oh yeah, that's definitely Flounder, right? Flounder's definitely happy with that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's like the bad lady from bloody Finding Nemo.
Oh yeah.
Wake up, fishy.
The little girl, yes.
Yes.
So Ariel visits Scuttle as another female character. You got the age wrong on there. Ariel visits Scuttle, a seagull who gives Ariel inaccurate information about humans. Of course, that's a running joke, and collects human artifacts in her grotto. So she's a princess who wants to rebel against the wishes of her father.
She's basically a weeaboo, but for mermaids and humans.
Yes, for humans, right?
Yeah, so she'd be like watching like anime, but it wouldn't be because it's Japanese, it would just be because it's humans.
Yeah, good stuff. So she wants to rebel against the wishes of her father, just like Aladdin a few years later. Oh, sorry, not Aladdin, Princess Jasmine.
Yes.
Another character you said was attractive, even though she was only 15 this time.
Wow, this is crazy.
I know. And then
I
Mulan.
blame Disney.
Yes, and then Mulan. And you thought she was very attractive when she was dressed up as a man.
Yes, I did. Yes.
Yes, and then Mulan, even though she's not actually a princess yet in that movie, but she of course becomes one eventually. But this girl who wants to go against the wishes of her father, a trope which worked for Disney several times, and they nailed it with this formula. And of course, the idea in general of a mermaid who wants to live with the humans but can't. It didn't come from Disney. Came from Hans Christian Andersen, but intuitively it is a good idea. I think it allows for this creation of an underwater kingdom, and the premise sets up, I think, a simple but effective story. So I think it's a very decent premise.
I think like obviously, I mean, the other example I can think of is of course the Bee movie. Where you're not allowed, the bees aren't allowed to interact with humans, and Barry B. Benson wants to interact with people. Similar movies in many ways, but like I think that is like a good thing, like having some kind of forbidden world that you want to access, but you can't because of social status or stigma, and of course, there is a stigma here. Yes.
Yeah, no, it's a trope, I guess, but it definitely works with mermaids and humans, I guess. Yeah, it's a trope, but it's used effectively here. So let's talk about Ariel. So Roger Ebert, he said The Little Mermaid is a jolly and inventive animated fantasy, a movie that's so creative and so much fun it deserves comparison with the very best Disney work of the past. I agree, and Ebert also commented positively on the character of Ariel, stating she is very attractive even though she's 16.
Oh yeah, good.
Sorry,
I'm glad to.
That was Michael.
Oh, okay. Damn it.
No, she said she is a fully realised female character who thinks and acts independently, even rebelliously, instead of hanging around passively while the fates decide her destiny. Yeah, again, we'll talk about sexism later. But for 1989, I guess this was a progressive character. She was a female who acted independently. And I guess, we'll get onto if this character is given a sexist storyline or not. We'll debate that. But I guess, she is a precocious character. She is a compelling character. And that was revolutionary for a female character, I guess, in a Disney movie in 1989.
Yeah, it's certainly more empowered and a lot more agency than... like you got like Sleeping Beauty, where literally the characters, which is the last thing, literally the characters asleep.
And she gets kissed without her consent, but that's part of the romance, right?
Yeah, whereas in this one, she's wants it, she is consenting, and she's not getting kissed. So is that just as bad? Arguably.
just as bad. Yeah.
It all evens out, to be fair.
Okay. Right. So I think that you could say this is progressive for 89, and the thing is things moved on. I think if you look at Mulan especially. That's a Disney princess, which again is more progressive, I guess you could say, than
and I think Belle was probably more well-rounded as a character.
Yeah, and that was only 2 years later. So that's progression. Disney kept on progressing. So let's talk about the songs now, Michael. So we get a part of that world first off.
Yes.
And of course, just a bit of background. Disney had decided an animated musical, much like many of its previous animated movies, was the way to go with more Broadway feel. So Howard Ashman and composer Alan Menken were responsible for the songs and score. Ashman worked to have songs stitched into the movie and bring the musical theatre tradition into Disney. And I think that was a goal which was very much accomplished. Variety magazine praised the film for its musical collaboration between Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, and it stated, their songs frequently begin slowly, but build in cleverness and intensity. And I think a part of that world does that. Like, it does that very well, and I think...
Yeah, it starts off very quiet.
Yeah, Variety really nailed it. Like, by the end, it's like, up where they come, up where they bum.
Where they fill their asses.
No.
Sorry, did we get it wrong?
Yeah, no, that's a separate song. What are the actual lyrics?
It's, oh God. I mean, well, I know there's like, bet you on land, they understand, bet they don't reprimand their daughters. I know that's one of the lines, but I think she has two different refrains.
Yeah.
Although I bring that up actually because I want to ask you this, because I heard a think piece where someone made this point. They pointed out that line's actually a bit weird because it obviously like it implies it suggests the movie could go in a very different direction. And I thought this was like an interesting point, not like a massive point because who cares, but basically like she has in her I Want song, she's literally saying on land people wouldn't reprimand their daughters and force their daughters to be restricted in terms of what they can do, which is of course funny because obviously in reality that 100% is what happens to children in general, but especially women, especially during that period of time. So someone's pointing out that like they could have made it so the movie was there's a dramatic tension which obviously isn't actually explored in the film, but I don't really care. Someone pointed it out and I thought, oh yeah, I mean that is kind of true. Like they could have taken the film in that direction, but they didn't, so who cares? Would you agree?
Yeah,
good. I'm glad we had that little exchange of ideas.
Yeah, great stuff there. Great stuff. Yeah. So yeah, again, she wants to be out there in the world, in the human world, and again, it's very, very memorable. Builds this crescendo,
yes.
And then at the end, I like this. There's a sadness because Ariel kind of realizes she is unlikely to get to explore that world. And yeah, so I think it's a fantastic song. It really is sensational.
Yes,
and
it's an emotional roller coaster, veritably.
It is an emotional roller coaster, and you completely understand her character. And I think there's of course there's relatability, for young people who want to explore the world, I guess, and feel like trapped in one way or another. I guess that's relatable to a lot of people out there. So yeah, again, this I Want song, as it's known, an absolute home run. They really nailed it. And yeah, again, this was the first real song of the Disney Renaissance, and it is an incredible song. One night, Ariel, Flounder, and Sebastian, a crab who serves as Triton's advisor, travel to the ocean surface to watch a birthday celebration for Prince Eric. Ariel falls in love with Eric at first sight. Again, it's very traditional Disney stuff here, and again, they were playing it very safe, I think, with this kind of stuff here in this movie.
Yeah.
They're still not really past, fall in love at first sight.
Yeah, like the romance isn't based on like very much characterization.
Exactly, yes. Which makes sense as it was the first stage of the Disney Renaissance. He's handsome and that's all it takes for Ariel to fall in love with him.
Yeah, this movie was made by an incel.
Yes,
she's like, wow, he's 6 foot and handsome.
Well, is he 6 foot? I don't know.
He probably is. He's Danish, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
There's no possibility that he's not 6 foot.
Yes, I guess so. Yeah, so obviously, suddenly a violent storm arrives, wrecking the ship and knocking Eric overboard. Ariel rescues Eric and brings him to shore. And yeah, I was just like, the storm came out of literally nowhere. But I guess that can happen at sea. So
I think it would have been cooler. Can I say a little cool suggestion? If maybe they were like, attacked, like another ship. I mean, admittedly, I guess the only problem with that is that then you'd be like, it would imply an extra conflict. I don't know. I just thought it would be cool if there was a battle.
Yes. So anyway, Ariel saves Eric immediately. And here's the thing. I would like it if she hesitated because she sees Eric in the water. And if she hesitates, that would like increase the stakes because that would risk exposing herself. And it would because you could say, oh, she just jumped in and saved him like right away, and that's better because it shows like she's caring and she doesn't really think about like, oh, I don't want to expose myself. But
but if she considers the stakes and then does it, maybe that's more meaningful.
Yeah, it adds to the tension, adds to the stakes of the story. So I'd hope she would have done that, but she didn't. So anyway, whatever. So she sings to Eric, but leaves just as he regains consciousness to avoid being discovered. And I love the reprisal of Part of That World.
Yeah.
It's now sung, of course, with a happy ending. It's sad, but now she's like determined to be part of that world. It's just genius, like how they had that idea to reprise Part of That World. And you have, of course, the wave crashing against the rock as it hits that crescendo.
Yes, that's a very good visual.
Yeah,
I think that's like probably the most classic visual, like the most like iconic visual of the film, like the waves crashing around it.
Yeah, Howard Ashman, he absolutely knew what he was doing. Yes, he was cooking, Michael. He was cooking.
He was cooking. Yes.
He was let Howard Ashman cook, and he cooked. Okay, so I've said how good Part of That World is. Of course, it's an iconic song, but another iconic song, and probably...
The seaweed.
Go on.
The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but that is a big mistake. Yeah, I think this song, like this song is it's like one of those fun songs.
Yes,
and I think this song is definitely like within the context of the film. Part of That World is like definitely the more like powerful and therefore better. But in terms of isolation, if there was like one song from the soundtrack that I could just listen to, just for the sake of listening to the song, it would easily be this one for me.
Yeah, I think this is the most famous song from this movie. Again, I hadn't seen this song for a while. Seen this movie for a while. But this, of course, is a song that, I always remembered because, again, it's very memorable. And I think it is more memorable than Part of That World. But here's the thing, this is the debate. Of course, both these songs were up for Best Original Song at the Oscars in 1990. And, of course, Part of That World lost to Under the Sea. Do you think that was the right thing to do, Michael?
Wow. Yeah, like I just said, I think in isolation I prefer Under the Sea, but I think in terms of like as an original song for the Oscars, you should take into account the role of the role of the song within the film, in which case I think that
Part
Michael,
of That World... I'm sorry, I got it wrong. So
you got it wrong around?
No. Best Original Song, the nominees... from The Little Mermaid in 1989, Under the Sea, which won. But the other song nominated was Kiss the Girl.
Oh, okay. I mean,
which is ridiculous because, again, I think Part of That World, again, because of its emotional salience,
is better.
Yeah, the emotional salience of Part of That World is the key.
Yeah, I like Kiss the Girl, but yeah, I think that's easily
it's
that's not in contention in my opinion for the best song.
Yeah, Part of That World should be ahead of Kiss the Girl. And you could debate it with Under the Sea, but I'm giving the win to Part of That World as well. And yeah, I think, again, it just shows like the Academy Awards, like in general, they just listen to the song and you're like, oh, that song's catchy.
Yeah,
we'll give it to that song.
They don't think, do they?
No, they don't think because Part of That World, because that's the thing. Under the Sea, it's a great song, but the movie could exist without it.
Yeah.
But Part of That World is such a key song. It's a foundation for this movie. The movie would not nearly be as good without Part of That World. It is so important to Ariel, her character. It's so important to this movie. And it's a great song as well. So it has to win. But of course, Under the Sea, the tune is very good. They make good use of Sebastian's Jamaican accent, and it's very colourful. So yeah, again, a massive contrast to the new clip I've seen of Under the Sea.
Yes.
So, yes, again. But yeah. So
yes, I think I saw that clip, and like that was like the moment where I was like, yeah, okay, this is just terrible.
Yeah, I'm not hating on Under the Sea, but you understand why I think Part of the World is better. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I get that. I think that already makes a lot of sense.
Let's talk about the animation, because of course part of the, I guess the greatness of Under the Sea, the tune's great, but also, how colourful everything is and all the fish playing all the instruments. So that gets us onto the animation, because the underwater setting required the most special effects animation for a Disney animated feature since Fantasia in 1940. Effects animation supervisor Mark Dindal estimated that over 1 million bubbles were drawn for the film, in addition to the use of other processes such as airbrushing, backlighting, superimposition, and some computer animation. So yeah, 1 million bubbles, Michael. That's a lot of bubbles.
That is funny.
Yeah, so the artistic manpower needed for The Little Mermaid required Disney to farm out most of the underwater bubble animation in the film to Pacific Rim Productions, which is based in China, in Beijing. So Disney, they love China now, and they loved China back then.
Yes. You gotta, but those people in China work cheap. I don't know if you know that. That's the thing.
Yes. So Triton questions Sebastian about Ariel's behavior and learns of Ariel's love for Eric. So an outraged Triton travels to Ariel's grotto and destroys her collection of artifacts in a misguided attempt to protect her. So Triton believes that humans and the sea world should be separated and stay away from each other. Because of course he hates humans, I guess, and of course the young rebellious character isn't prejudiced like the elders. That is a familiar trope, of course. But the thing is Ariel right or is Triton right? Because humans do hunt fish, and humans. I imagine if they found a mermaid, like they'd like try and eat it. I don't know. Like you know what humans are like, Michael. So I don't know. Is this like a Pocahontas situation? Where like the Native Americans are like, no, we distrust the white man. We're going to kill the white man. And like Pocahontas is like, no, I love this white guy. Don't do it. Don't kill them. We can all be happy.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I would say that actually, like, I mean, I guess the question is, we need to ask, what do the Atlanteans eat? Maybe the Atlanteans are being all judgmental, but they actually, like, maybe they eat, you know, something else. Maybe they eat Bambi's, like Bambi's mum. Or, you know, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, the problem is the Disney world is one where, like, a lot of things which shouldn't be sentient are sentient. So you can't really blame the humans. Like, there's not many things you can get away with eating in this world.
Well, okay,
in the world of Disney.
The Atlanteans probably eat seaweed. How about that? Seaweed. There you go. And humans should do the same. But it's funny, like, in Aquaman, the 2018 Aquaman, like, the Atlanteans have the same beef with the humans.
I know, I was thinking that too, yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, in that sense, actually, it makes more sense. Oh, dare I say? You know, there we go. I'm going because it's like, it's about pollution, which is probably like a more legitimate criticism. Because obviously, in reality, like, I guess the thing is, we know that, like, eating fish isn't bad.
I thought you were going to say we know that Atlantis doesn't exist.
We know that Atlantis doesn't exist. But obviously, yeah. So the main valid criticisms are, I guess, like overfishing and, you know, bloody pollution. But obviously the problem is neither of those things were things really in the 1700s. I think like they could have easily had it so there's like some kind of resource war going on. Like that could have made sense. Like maybe a Romeo and Juliet situation where it's like the mermaids attack the ships, and then that means sometimes the ships attack the mermaids. You'd have to make it so that the people don't realize mermaids exist, I guess. But you know, you could have that. Like they could be shooting at, they could think they're dolphins or something.
No, you can't do Romeo and Juliet. No, because because
then that ruins The Lion King 2, Simba's Pride, which is based on Romeo and Juliet,
and that ruins Pocahontas as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
they were planning to make. Yeah, after a remorseful Triton leaves, two blue eels named Flotsam and Jetsam convince Ariel to visit Ursula, the sea witch, who plans to use Ariel as a ransom to get Triton's magical trident. So again, we have another message in here. You know, don't be prejudiced against people who are different to you, even if you know maybe you should be in the case of the mermaids. But again, I guess the message is no, you shouldn't. And yeah, another message: don't control your kids. You gotta let your kids live, Michael.
Especially seeing as like at the end we find out he could literally just use his Triton powers to, you know, give her abilities.
Oh, her legs,
her legs. Sorry,
but yeah, especially I guess that's a bit of a nitpick, but in general, don't control your kids too much, or I guess they will just rebel even more against you and make bad decisions. You gotta let them live, you know. And again, Sebastian says something at the end of the movie, making that point succinctly. So let's talk about Ursula now, because she is a very good villain, of course, and I think crucially, what I like is she has a plan which makes a lot of sense. You know, use Ariel to get that trident. And of course, the question on everybody's lips regarding Ursula, though, is she gay?
Yes.
Or is she coded to be gay? Is she a lesbian? Or is that harsh on lesbians? Because you see a fat, ugly woman with short hair, and you think, they must be a lesbian. Is that it?
Well, yeah, I heard, and I have no idea where this came from, that apparently, like, her character design is based on a famous drag queen, but like I heard
is correct.
That. Yes, which obviously, I mean, that's weird because that's not lesbian. Obviously, that's a different thing. But yeah, obviously, I think to me, I mean, she just seems like a regular old eccentric woman. Like, I mean, if she was a guy, then she'd seem kind of gay. But
well, yeah, if she had the same voice.
Yeah, she was a guy. Yeah, exactly. But like, I think like it's one of those things where, because I definitely think there is such things like cartoon villains seeming. I mean, Scar seems gay.
He has gay moves.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas this person, Ursula, I would say that not knowing like the context, I don't really think she seems particularly gay.
Wow,
that's my take.
Yeah,
even though she is fat and she does have short hair.
So she's a lesbian. No, but that's the thing. I think if you say Ursula is, look, you could say, she's based on a drag queen, so that's a queer thing. So therefore she's queer, so she's a lesbian. But like in general, like she does nothing like that is like, you know, she does nothing gay. You know. So again, I think
she doesn't act very gay.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
She's not flirting with Ariel.
Yeah, exactly. She doesn't do that. So I don't really understand the emphasis on that. It's just like, people maybe suspecting that's what Disney were doing. But anyway, let's talk about the deal she makes. So within 3 days, Ariel must receive a true love's kiss. Again, very traditional stuff from Eric. And yeah, this was parodied in Shrek, wasn't it? That was what they...
Yes.
Yeah, that's what fucking Fiona had to do before she became an ogre or something. So if Ariel doesn't get Eric to kiss her, she will transform back into a mermaid and belong to Ursula. Ursula makes a deal with Ariel to transform her into a human for 3 days in exchange for Ariel's voice. So, is there a thematic reason she does this? Because the thing is, I was thinking at the time, Ursula, or the theme is, look, girls, it doesn't matter if you look attractive and are slim, if you can't speak, you won't get the man. That implies you need a voice, which is, of course, contrary to what Ursula says.
Yeah, because Ursula literally says, like, oh, don't talk, you stupid bimbo.
Yeah, but of course, she wants Ariel to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
So
she's lying.
So is it a thematic reason why Ariel has her voice taken away from her? Or is it that Ursula knows the princess is infatuated with Ariel's voice? So that is why Ursula takes Ariel's voice away. What do you think it is, or is it a combination?
Yeah, I think it could be a combination. I mean, definitely, I think, like, obviously the fact that she specifically is saying, like, some obviously messages that you wouldn't want girls to actually pick up, but, like, she's the villain, so you can tell, like, I think that's an aspect of it. Like, the fact she is specifically saying, like, oh, you don't need your voice, it doesn't matter, you just need to look pretty. Obviously, the fact she's the villain saying that is good, because you wouldn't want somebody who's not the villain to be saying that, so I think that was intentional. But I mean, it's a bit weird though, because it seems like she kind of comes up with the plan of using the voice towards the end, whereas you'd think if, like, her plan, if she knew about Eric's infatuation with the voice, she'd maybe have had that plan all along. I don't know. I'm trying to think if it's, like, implied that she came up with that plan on the fly. But yeah, I think if it's anything, it's, I mean, I think it could be both. I think that probably the message of, like, not giving up your voice and just relying on your looks. I think that is an intentional message.
Okay. So, is it clear, by the way, that losing her voice disadvantages Ariel?
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's a very, like, obviously, I mean, I suppose, like, the thing is, having said that, they kind of achieve showing that by him being obsessed with her voice, rather than, like, I will say, I don't think this movie really is, like, I don't think you can say this movie is feminist, because I feel like it's, like, he basically just thinks her voice is, like, pretty, which, rather than, for example, but then the problem is, to be fair, Eric is also a plank of wood, in that, like, as we've already said, the romance isn't really based on characterization, so it's not necessarily that sexism is, like, the main thing.
It's very superficial. And, of course, you could argue Eric has a better reason to fall in love with Ariel, considering she saved his life. And Ariel just thinks that this guy looks attractive, but whatever. I think so. Do you think it's clear that losing her voice is a bad thing for Ariel?
Yeah, I think that is clear.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I found interesting. So I was going through Wikipedia and I found a couple of quotes from prominent or famous celebrities. So in 2018, Keira Knightley said what was that reaction?
Well, just that she's famous.
Okay. Said she would not permit her 3-year-old to watch Disney films, including Cinderella and The Little Mermaid, saying, "This is the one I'm quite annoyed about, because I really like the film, The Little Mermaid, but I mean, look, the songs are great, but do not give your voice up for a man. Hello." That's what Keira Knightley says. And again, I would say, well, giving up her voice kind of hurts her.
Like, that is kind of the message of the film, really.
Yes.
Because she gets her voice back in the end.
Yes, so also actor, comedian and writer Mindy Kaling expressed similar sentiments. "The Little Mermaid is a little problematic to me. I love the songs, I love the crab. Ursula the Sea Witch is a great character, but it bums me out looking back on it because she gave up her voice and left her family and friends in pursuit of a man. And she's 16 years old. When my daughter and I watch it together and she gets older, I'll still let her watch it, but I'll have to do the running commentary of, like, you don't have to be mute to attract a man and get all your dreams to come true. It's fine. The people in your life who are your enemies are not just an older woman who's jealous of your beauty. The ultimate dream in life is not to become married to a white prince." Okay, so several things here.
Yeah.
I don't know why the white thing is necessary.
Yeah.
Considering all the characters are white. It's fucking stupid, but whatever. Just Ursula. Is Ursula jealous of Ariel's body? Again, she wants a ransom.
She wants power. That's pretty...
Yeah. That's feminist. She wants power. That's the thing. She disguises herself as Ariel so she can basically sabotage the love between Ariel and Eric. and marry him. So yeah, she gets all that power. So yeah, I don't think Ursula in the movie is jealous of Ariel's body. I think you're reading too much into that. And also, being a mute does not help Ariel. Like, this is what I don't understand about like what Mindy Kaling and also Keira Knightley have said there. It's a bad message to say, girls, you need to be a mute to get a man. Well, first, like again, the Ursula, the bad character, the villain is saying that. So again, you shouldn't suggest the movie is saying that's true. If anything, because the villain is saying it, the movie thinks the opposite. But again, in terms of what actually happens in the movie, the prince would fall in love with Ariel early.
Exactly, yeah.
If she could talk, like he's saying, are you the woman who rescued me? Like I want to hear your voice, and she's a mute. And of course, if Ariel was singing, he would fall in love with her. And again, it's not a case of you can say, oh, that's not very progressive because her voice is just pretty. That's what he likes about her. But again, being a mute is not advantageous to Ariel. Like the message is not lose your voice and that'll help you get the man. Like it is a disadvantage for Ariel that she lost her voice. And I just feel like reading those quotes, I was like, Mindy, like Keira Knightley is just maybe a dumb actress, but Mindy Kaling is like, a producer. And if she doesn't have like the media literacy, like to understand what the message of the movie is, like, or the message is not, lose your voice and get the man. That is not the message. It's clearly not. I guess, look, she needs to make the deal to go mute, and that helps her get the prince. Okay. But at the end of the day, yeah, like...
it would have been better if she didn't do that.
Yeah, well, the reason why she wins the prince over in the end is because she can speak. So
and Luke, you're right. The one thing I will say is I think like the point about her motivation is to like leave her own world behind entirely to go fully into the world of a man, which is based at the age of 16. I think that is like a legitimate criticism in that like the film is clearly presenting her completely abandoning her own world. And like that's a very kind of patriarchal thing where like a woman just completely leaves her old world and goes fully into the world of a man because she likes him at a young age. Having said that, you then get to the fact, it's a fairy tale, like it's going to have that kind of traditional element to it.
Well, I think again it's not something that she would like to do. It's something that like Triton kind of pushed her into doing. So that's the nature of the film is that she kind of has to. Well, kind of. Although actually, it's a bit weird because I suppose one of the things they could have done, because Triton can give her like he can make her into a mermaid. So if Disney wanted to woke it up in their live action remake, they should have a scene where Triton is like, and also maybe sometimes I'll turn Philip into a mermaid so he can come down and visit, every now and then. And in that way, it's showing like, he's entering her world too. There we go. There we go, Disney. There's your woke improvement. Well, that's the thing. Eric doesn't want to be a mermaid, though. Like, that's the thing. She has a fascination with the human world. It's not just like she wants to be a human because of Eric.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, sorry, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's not.
Yeah, there you go. Owned you. Boom. Logicked. Yeah. No, she has a fascination with the human world. That's why she wants to be human. And Eric, I guess, is just the catalyst that really makes her want to be a human. So, furious at Ariel's close success, Ursula disguises herself as a young woman named Vanessa and appears on shore singing with Ariel's voice. Ursula is using Ariel's voice to her advantage, and you say it could just be a plot device, but also it could be a thematic thing. It would support the idea that, hey, having a voice is vital, and you can't just be a mute. Again, it could just be a plot device, but it's certainly not suggesting, well, like Mindy Kaling and Keira Knightley are, that the theme is lose your voice and that's how you get the man. It's like certainly not that.
Yeah, because the woman with the voice does a better job of getting the man until Ariel gets her voice back.
Exactly. So, you got chaos at the wedding between Vanessa and Eric. That restores Ariel's voice and breaks Ursula's enchantment. Realizing that Ariel is the girl who saved his life, Eric rushes to kiss her. So again, the voice is important. We're just going to emphasize that. And what did you think of the ending, Michael?
It was good. It kind of like, it got wrapped up pretty quick, I guess, in a way. Like, it's almost like a lot happens at once because there's a wedding and then like the thing smashes and she gets the voice. And then like it's like, oh wait, it's already too late. That was a bit contrived. Like the fact that literally he was just about to kiss her and the sun, like that's like, I mean, it's fine because obviously fairy tale and all that, but like obviously objectively speaking, like wow, what are the odds? But yeah, it all happens very fast and like it wraps up. The thing is, like, I could imagine how Disney could pad this out a bit more. I don't think, I mean, at the same time, I'm a big fan of a speedy ending. I like when
you mean
everything
in the
just
remake?
wraps up. Yeah, in the remake, yeah. So like I can see the opportunities to kind of stretch things out a tiny bit, because it does kind of feel like it's all very like one thing after another very quickly.
Yes. So obviously, a couple of things I want to point out. Obviously, again, we get another emphasis on what Ursula actually wants. She doesn't want to be Ariel. Like she's not jealous of Ariel. She wants the trident. And again, it's a very good villain plan. So a very good villain, which Ursula is. And yeah, obviously, I like how Eric isn't bothered by the mermaid shit either. He's just like, this girl, like,
this is hot.
Yeah, I don't know if they're aware mermaids exist either, but yeah. And of course, we do get this traditional ending. I guess the prince slays the beast, slays Ursula, the fat lesbian.
Good, finally,
and saves the day. So yeah, it's a Disney movie, which in some aspects you could say, oh yeah, it is progressive, certainly compared to like Sleeping Beauty, but in other aspects, yeah, has a kind of a traditional ending.
Yeah,
really.
It's kind of like a halfway.
Yeah, exactly, which is what was necessary, I guess, with this first movie of this Renaissance. And yeah, so realizing that Ariel loves Eric, changes her from a mermaid into a human and approves the marriage. And yeah, what does Sebastian say? Children got to be free to live their own life. And we get a nice, happy ending, which again was something that is the case with basically all Renaissance Disney movies.
Yes. So, yeah. Oh, and also he gets a victory over that French chef, who's kind of a funny guy.
Oh yeah, the French chef.
Yeah. I actually, I just realized one thing I wanted to say regarding the I guess feminist critique. Are you familiar with the born sexy yesterday trope?
Yes, we've discussed this before.
Yes, have we? Yeah, so it kind of feels like, I was wondering if like it sort of seems like there's a bit of an element, because she's obviously very naive. I don't think like it's a major thing, but I feel like the film, like I bet if I went onto that, there's like that site that has like all the tropes listed, I bet it has that listed as a trope for this film. It's called like Trope Anatomy. Yes. Because I think it's like, it's kind of there, like, obviously it's not, obviously she's perfectly smart as a mermaid, but, she's a fish out of water. So, I feel like it kind of plays slightly into that, like, oh, she's very naive and innocent because she has no idea what's going on, but also she's like sexy. I think that's kind of the thing.
She has no idea what she's going on, what is going on, because she is a mermaid. So I'm not sure it's exactly Born Sexy Yesterday, because the other examples are like the people who are like the Fifth Element girl, Uma Thurman. She actually has the mind of a child, I think.
Yeah.
She's 16, but like Ariel doesn't have the mind of like a kid, like she just is unaware of humanity and what humans are like. So it is kind of different, but I get your point.
Yeah. You know what? It doesn't list it as a. I said on the Trope Anatomy site, but what it does have, is it has one of the tropes is apparently butt biter. It says, while Scuttle is stalling the Vanessa/Eric nuptials, Max gets loose and gleefully sinks his teeth into Ursula's butt. Great. I didn't know that was a trope.
Okay, that's fun. So let's conclude, Michael. You go first.
Yeah. So I think this film it's good. It's really good. And I think basically as far as like the classic, and I think I would kind of agree, this film's like what it needed to be, and it goes very much back to the classics of what made Disney great. And it's very reminiscent and warrants a place alongside Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella, all that jazz. And like those films, it's a bit simple, but I think there is something to it. There are certain elements to it. The one thing that's lacking is obviously the romance isn't very character based, and obviously, if I really wanted to watch like a good romance film, I would watch something other than this. But in terms of, I guess like archetypes is the thing I like. The archetypal fairy tale. It's good, really good, and I guess. I'm probably going to give it and the music's good, actually. I'm going to give it a middling 7, which is still a good rating, but I think it just necessarily, to get to the 8 rating and things like that, would have to have just a bit more to it. But good film.
Yeah, I agree. I think this, for me, is an 8 out of 10. I think that's a fair rating. And yeah, I think this movie, of course, does what it needs to do. And yeah, again, it's got some memorable songs, of course, but the best song, Part of That World, is so key, and it's so important to this movie because, of course, it's the foundation of Ariel's character, the foundation, again, of this whole movie, and the characterization of Ariel is so good. You completely understand her character, her desires, her motivations, and yeah, you want to see her succeed because of that. And yeah, you want to see her like be a part of that world, as the song says, and eventually she does. So it's a kind of a safe ending. It's nothing much happens really. That's unsurprising. But yeah, I guess just the culmination of her success is, it's emotionally satisfying. And of course, Ursula, great villain, has a very good plan, which I like. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Very solid movie. And you can completely understand why this started the Disney Renaissance, of course. So Michael, it's time to predict what we think The Little Mermaid 2023 is going to get. Yeah. So, have you got an idea? On Rotten Tomatoes, of course. This is the Rotten Tomatoes rating.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. I'm going for it. Okay.
Okay, you ready?
Yep.
So let's do the old 3, 2, 1.
Yep.
3, 2, 1,
50.
71. Oh,
okay,
wow.
we've gone. That's a difference, yeah.
Oh, jeez, I hope I'm not wrong here. So you've gone for 50, and I've gone for 71. Damn.
Yeah, it's a lot in it.
I'm going to have a look, actually, at the... Cause that's the thing, these Disney movies, they're shit, but they don't get bad reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
I guess I was thinking, like Lion King, obviously. Yeah, I don't actually know exactly how many of them. I know, like, The Lion King got really badly reviewed. I think there have been a few other ones that... I mean, how was the Pinocchio one reviewed?
Shit.
That was really bad.
I've just seen Aladdin. It got 57%.
So the Pinocchio one got... Oh, the Pinocchio... Whoa, Pinocchio got 29%.
Oh, yeah, but that's not a proper live-action... That's not one of these, is it? That's kind of a shitty Disney Plus movie. No.
Yeah. So I guess like theatrical releases. Yeah, but some of them have done all right, haven't they?
Shit. Okay,
That's going to be interesting.
Fuck, I think I've gone too high then. I just saw Aladdin. I was like, I didn't realize it only got 57%.
Yeah.
Wow. People really didn't like Blue Will Smith. Anyway, Michael, what are we reviewing next week?
Well, next week we're reviewing another fish out of water story. Spider-Man No Way Home. How's he going to get back?
Yeah, and that's because of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the animated movies coming out. So, yeah, we're looking at the 2021 Spider-Man No Way Home. So, yeah, join us for Spider-Man No Way Home. We have been selecting and reflecting on The Little Mermaid for the upcoming Disney movie. And now, because we've done our Rotten Tomatoes ratings, I kind of want it to be better than I hope. Or better than I think it will be, because I realise I may have overshot it with the prediction. But yeah, join us next week for Spider-Man No Way Home. Who have you been, Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.